Hello everyone, how's it going? It is time for another vlog, and I've been super busy, so this is why it's not been earlier in the month, but I wanted to get stuff out of the way before I started talking to a camera. And I also want a little bit of time just to kind of relax and chat about things that have been going on. But as always, I should start by thanking my Patreon patrons who are amazing, and they are Ben Swindon, Rick Hotman, Jack Atkinson, Papa Ken, and Stome. So thank you everyone for your kind help, and I think there are a couple of people who need rewards sent to them or whatever. Check your rewards and then send me a message on Patreon so I know what's going on. I think I need some information from a couple of people. I think I've got a couple of these to send out. Postcards with haikus on them. I think they're pretty cool. I think it's a good idea, but it's just a silly fun thing to say thank you. And currently, if you're interested, I don't know whether anyone is, I'm at 6 patrons total with $42 per month, which is incredible because I'm such a tiny channel. But it's all down to very generous people. So thanks, and I'm $8 away from my next goal, which is a very small goal of $50 a month, which will cover my internet bill for a month. So yeah, I'm hoping to expand the channel and do amazing things eventually. But yeah, I'll get on to what has been going on. So today is the 7th, which in UK, or the 7th of May, which is election polling day in the UK. So I've been doing my research on who I want to vote for, and when I'm done with this, I'm going to go around the corner and vote. I'm not going to go into any more depth than that because honestly, beyond doing my research, I'm not that interested in talking about this kind of politics. Although it does affect literally everything in everyone's life all the time, always, it's not the most interesting subject for the majority of the time, but hopefully it is. By the time this goes out, I think the polling stations will still be open. So if you're in England and you can vote and you've applied for it, I think you have to have applied already because that's closed. But yeah, if you've applied and done all that stuff, you can go vote. So please do that. And aside from that, today I am also spending most of my time, I've got my hands here, weirdly, just kind of floating around doing stuff. It's because if I move them anywhere else, I'm going to bash the mic or the table, and it's going to make everything really annoying. My life is busy at the moment. So today I have to make a trailer for the game Kenchi. I think I mentioned this a while back. The game Kenchi is all about, it's kind of a cross between strategy, real-time strategy, and an RPG. So you get a bunch of people with big swords, and you go out and you kill stuff, and you trade, and you can build a base, or you can just go around being a bandit, or whatever. It's quite a cool game, and I quite enjoy it. So the people asked me if I would like to make a trailer for it, and I'm going to. It's going to be like a minute long and show off the new feature, or one of the new features, plus other stuff that's going to be added into the new update, which I think is 0.74. I can't remember, but yeah, that's what I'm doing for the rest of the day. And also, I have. So this is the main reason why my life has suddenly burst into activity. I have been. Yesterday, I went for an interview for a job at a place. I don't know whether it's a good idea to mention the place. I don't know. I'm not going to. But basically, the job is what people commonly refer to as community management, where, for instance, you organize social media and talk to communities and press and things, and it's a whole mishmash of different bits that come together under this job title. So I went for an interview, and I think it went quite well. And now I'm into the next phase of where they set me like a task, and I've got to do the task, and then if they like what I do, they'll hire me, which is great. It's really great, but it's a double-edged sword, because as amazing and great as that will be, it will mean I will have less time for the channel. So I think I can balance my time well enough. I don't have great time management. Like when I'm at home, I just either spend my time playing Kerbal Space Program, which I've been addicted to recently. But I think in like my spare time, I can still run the channel, still bring quality videos out on a probably daily basis, I hope, although I really don't know. So in the near future, things might change quite a lot for me in general, and there's all sorts of craziness going on. They said they were going to set me a challenge to do, and I really don't know what that means. They haven't sent it to me yet. Hopefully I get race them in Mario Kart. Probably not, though. It's probably going to be to do with the job a little bit more. Hang on, I need a drink. Labeled camera. Juice Burst, if you want to sponsor me, tough luck. I've got no time anymore. No time for sponsorships. Not on this channel. It's just... Oh, it is adverts. I do have adverts on my videos. I'm going to put that there. Yeah, I've been wanting to do a podcast for a while now. I was guest on Media Pulp and my friend Jordan's Not a Game podcast. And they were both really fun. Just talking with other people for an hour or so. It was really fun, and I had forgotten how much fun podcasting was. So I want to start a podcast at some point, but for the moment, I think what I'll do is just make my vlogs longer, because that's kind of similar. It's similar, because I'll spend ages talking anyway, and it's practice. That's what it is. It's practice. But I've got a ton of stuff to talk about. Goes silent for the next 20 minutes. My girlfriend bought me... This is like the big news story of this vlog. Big news story. I did not know this existed until my girlfriend mentioned it. There is a place in England called Lush, and they do all sorts of fancy smelling soaps. Fancy smelling soaps, and one of them is called Fun. And I got gifted by Lexi, my girlfriend. She gifted me a bright green one. And Fun, if you haven't heard or seen it before, is basically Play-Doh for the shower. And it's amazing. It's also really messy for some reason, because I don't know whether it's specifically the green one. I haven't tried out the other colours yet, but it's green for some reason means citrus. You would have thought like orange or yellow, but no, green. I guess limes maybe, but it's supposed to be like orangey flavoured. Not that I tried eating it. Yeah, you can mould it, and obviously the first thing I did was make a penis out of this bright green soap. So in the shower, I'm like washing my hands and scrubbing up, getting this bright green soap all over me. You know when like you have coloured soaps normally? It's a weird colour, but when you rub it, it goes white and foamy. No, not this. It's bright green. And so the first time I washed with it, bright green all over the shower, like splashes of it, and then like the plug hole went bright green, and like I said, I'm gonna bash things. It was a real mess that I had to wash off the shower once I'd finished washing myself. And it was brilliant. It is fun. It's called fun for a reason. It's a stupid idea, but it is brilliant. My throat's been sore recently, I don't know why, so I went out for lunch. I bought myself some really nice tomato soup and a gigantic bottle of juice, which is the same size as my face. For reference, maybe I just have a huge face or a very, very small face, but it's the same size, so... and unfortunately, the previous day, I have finished off all of the juice in the house, so gotta go out and buy myself this. Probably not a great idea to talk for extended periods and have orange juice, because it's catching in my throat. I'm such an idiot. Oh dear. Okay. There was other stuff I wanted to talk to you about. Oh yeah! Game Loading came out. The Game Loading Rise of the Indies, which is kind of like, but not really, kind of like Indie Game the Movie. And if you've seen that, which it essentially follows people like Phil Fish and talks to Jonathan Blow about their success and how they made their games and what inspired them and blah, 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 blah. Game Loading is a lot less narratively clear. So instead of following a couple of people make their games, they visit and interview lots of different people like Zoe Quinn, like Rami Ismail from Vlambeer, and oh goodness, who else? The bloke who made Sound Self, that thing where you hum into a microphone and it makes pretty pictures. That thing. I can't remember his name. Anyway, all sorts of indie developers making weird and wonderful stuff, and that's the idea of it. It's going, hey, indie games are making weird, strange things that normally you wouldn't see in video games, and they're experimenting in cool ways, and I think that's great. Unfortunately, I spent the last 3 years looking at indie games saying, indie games are doing really cool things. They're experimenting in weird ways. So this is nothing new to me. And I don't feel like they went deep enough into either the developers' interviews and talking to them about how they feel about all manner of things, from making stuff to... there was even a quick mention, well, not by name, but there was a quick mention of Gamergate. And it was good because it was Zoe Quinn saying people are saying horrible stuff about all sorts of people and just damaging the industry. So that was cool. But they didn't actually mention by name Gamergate, which is weird. Anyway, what was I saying? Yes, they didn't really go deep enough for me, but for someone that has spent a little time, or most of their time, playing FIFA or literally anything else like AAA, which I'll get onto that in a minute. So if you spent most of your time talking to people about AAA games and having fun with AAA games, then this is probably kind of an explorative experience, or the film shows you all the different things like game jams that people are doing and various projects that people are working on, and it covers like the last 3-4 years of indie games within that as well, focusing mostly on stuff that's going on at the moment, which I think is great for people that haven't spent all their time thinking about indie games. So overall, it's a good film. I wasn't that interested in it, but it said some really cool, important things. One thing that I saw, I think it was Mike Bithell, the developer of Thomas Was Alone, talking about on Twitter, not in the film. Although I think he might have been in the film. I think he had an interview in the film. He was talking about the film, and he said he likes the film, but it does kind of give the impression that it's trying to say indie games are where the cool stuff is. They're so creative. They're small people making small things from passion projects and like personal projects that are either autobiographical or just like what they want to see in video games, which is what indie games are. But how do I say this? It kind of, not to kind of draw away from the fact that people in AAA games are really creative. They make awesome things that a lot of people find enjoyable, and despite the fact that they've got a giant audience and have big budgets and people to answer to, it doesn't stop them from being as creative in their work. And I think like to have that as an addendum to like this mini review of game loading is quite important, because I love indie games because of what is in that film. Not because of the film, but because of what is in that film, what they show you, the people, the games, the experimentation. But AAA games, just as creative, if not more sometimes. If you've seen some of the things on Game Jolt, then you know. You know. But yeah, it's kind of just a different part of the industry, and it's really nice that they put this whole spotlight on it, and saying where Indie Game the movie was like, if you make indie games, you're going to become a millionaire. This is so creative. People will see your thing and they will love it. People might see your thing and people might love it. This is what Game Loading was saying. People might see your thing, people might love it and connect with it in a special way, but it almost definitely won't make you a millionaire, if any money at all. So it's nice that it's not just a success story. It's this is a kind of day job thing that you put your passion into. If you want to go into indie games, then this is what you will be doing day in, day out. Put something on the App Store, it could go viral, probably won't. And it could make you a minimum wage. But I think, going back to Mike Bithell again, his aim with Thomas Was Alone was, hopefully I will make enough money to make the next game, which is a really nice kind of in the moment goal. Yeah, and that's what I think. That's my mini review. Josh's vlog reviews with the swinging arms of Game Loading. Is it Game Loading No, GameLoading.tv is the website, but I think it's just called Game Loading Rise of the Indies, and it's great if you haven't spent. Going back to this again, it's great if you haven't spent all your time talking about indies for the last 3 years. Yeah, so it's not for me, but it's really great. There's some funny stuff in there as well, and some really cool projects. So I'm going to have another drink. There was something else I wanted to talk to you about. I know I have a list here somewhere. Oh yeah, Daredevil. I wanted to talk to you about Daredevil, but it's been like 3 weeks since I finished watching it, and I'm still undecided on how I feel about it. I think my takeaway from finishing the series, it's a Netflix series, by the way, so if you've got Netflix, it's on there. All of the first series, which they haven't made any other series, but all of the series that they've made are up there. I don't know why I keep on saying it in a weird way. I'm like, one series is all that they've made. Maybe they'll make more, maybe they won't. I'm going into weird detail. I don't know why I do that sometimes. Daredevil is... Okay. The bit of it I enjoyed was Kingpin, Wilson Fisk, who is the evil baddie. He has so many great moments, like showing him not just as a mustache twirling villain. He's not just evil for evil's sake. He has a goal. He wants to make this happen any way he can, and he's done that by being a mob boss. And he is such a good villain. The rest of the characters are so damn boring. Not that I know much about modern day New York, but basically there have been 50 billion superhero movies recently, and they're all based on comics, but none of them are doing what comics are doing. So Miss Marvel, Spider-Man, as well as Daredevil, is in New York, and the new Thorina, she's still called Thor, I'm pretty sure. I haven't read any of it, but I know that Thor is now a woman, and Daredevil is just this weird white guy when it could have been something so much more relevant. I don't know. I'm not quite informed enough on these subjects. There's a guy on Twitter who is lovely and charming and very smart. He's called Virender Jabal, and I think I'll put his Twitter handle underneath, but if you follow him on Twitter, he talks about comic books a lot because he loves comic books. And he is a Sikh, so he's like, I want to see more Sikhs in video games, in comic books, and comic books are where more representation is happening. So, well, first off, comic book companies were in a nosedive, money-wise, and then they decided to broaden their ranks, and they realised that there was this whole audience who would give them money. And they were like, well, they have money, why not give it to us? We will make things for them. And I think that's really cool. That's so great. Comic book, the films made from comic books are now not doing what the comic books are doing, which is boring, if nothing else. I don't know. I don't really know enough about it, but there are other people who can talk more with more authority on these things than I can. So, I talked about the job. Oh, one final thing. I streamed Charnel House Trilogy on my Twitch channel. I don't stream like with any schedule, just if you're wondering. However, I played Charnel House Trilogy, which is a really cool gothic horror style point and click adventure. It's not like jump scary, but it's got some really creepy themes in it that slowly mix together and start off with some genuinely odd and disturbing moments in amongst this slightly more normal setting that then just kind of degrades into madness, and you don't understand what things mean. There are mysteries to be solved, even though it feels like a fairly beginning to end story, straight path game. There are a lot of things to think about and a lot of things to discover, figure out, I guess. Not all of them are like different paths in the story, but a lot of them are kind of mysteries presented to you. So there are these suitcases that keep appearing in weird places, and they're connected to other things happening, and you're like, no, that can't be this thing happening. That doesn't make sense. That's weird. And then it just slowly comes together at the end, and I think there's going to be another game afterwards. But the Charnel House Trilogy, it's split into like 3 chapters that you play through. And I think that's the trilogy. I don't think there's like another 2 games coming after it. I don't think it's episodic. It's 1 game. And you go through these 3 chapters of it. And it comes to a weird conclusion where you're left with a lot of questions which seem like they'll be answered by replaying it, and in the game that I think there's a game coming after it. So I don't know, it's odd and it's pretty great. So if you're interested in that, there's probably a link in the description as well. Apart from that, let me know what you think of the longer form vlog. I don't know how long this is. 25 minutes long, so that's not too bad. Like I said, let me know what you think of me doing a podcast as well as me shortening, lengthening the vlog. No idea how this went. So I just felt like I needed to get some stuff out of my brain, like brain vomit. I vomit on you with my brain. That's what this past half hour has been. I apologize. But if you want more brain vomit, then there is a Twitter account at GamingFTL. There's Patreon, which is patreon.com/GamingFTL. And hopefully over the next few weeks, I won't be too busy to bring you cool indie games. And lots of Ludum Dare stuff and Game Jam stuff is happening. So I hope I will have time, but I really don't know how my time is going to be divided in the near future. So be prepared for less videos, potentially, but I'll keep you updated somehow, probably on Twitter or something, I don't know. So cheers for watching, hope you have an amazing day. I'm going to go vote, and I will see you next time. See ya! Woo!